Well, hey y'all, I'm Edmund.
And I'm Heather.
And this is All Positive Reviews. So last time on the bucket list, we did Blade Runner with Harrison Ford. Mm-hmm. And now we're moving into another sci-fi movie, which is a lot more violent, though, with A Clockwork Orange. And this is one that I've seen many times. It's a movie that I love, but you have never seen it before.
No, this was my first viewing, again, like so many we've talked about already.
But we're going to find out what you thought here on All Positive Reviews. So, this is a crazy movie, huh?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I really enjoyed it, though. Mm-hmm. It was very enjoyable.
Yeah, it's very psychological.
Yeah, I'm a big psychology person, so it was fun for me to watch. Especially
if you don't like B.F. Skinner and behaviorism, this is very much anti that.
Yes.
Because if you don't know, this is a story about taking the most evil, diabolical teen imaginable and taking away their ability to choose and finding out the nature of good and evil and throwing lots of crazy over-the-top violence on top of it. But the center of all of this is Malcolm McDowell's now iconic character of Alex DeLarge, the most vicious psychopath that you'll probably see in a movie, or at least, in the running.
Yeah, he's up there. He's
one who I see frequently collaged with Tyler Durden or Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
And Malcolm McDowell just owns it. Like,
oh, yeah,
this is, he was quoted for this movie as saying that you always want, just as an actor, just, if you can't have anything else, just one great performance that you'll be remembered for, and this is his.
Oh, he's wonderful.
He is...
I mean, he's terrible, but he's wonderful.
He's terrible, but he's charming, he's funny.
He's smart.
He's smart.
That's what I like about him the most. Is he's very smart.
Isn't it fun to watch him bullshit?
Yes. It really is. That's one of the most... like the fun things I enjoyed about how good he was at bullshitting people, and either how deluded people were for believing him or just not paying attention or something. I don't know. I mean, some people were smart enough to be like, no, he's crazy. But most of them were just like, okay.
And he's never one that you root for.
No.
Which I think is part of the controversy, is a lot of people think in this movie that you're supposed to root for him. No, we're just viewing it from his head.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we're rooting for him. But he is still genuinely funny with his superiority complex. The Loki-esque way that things blow up in his face.
Well, and how much better than everything and everyone he thinks he is.
Thou globby bottle of cheap, stinking chip oil!
Really thinks he's so cool and so smart. And he's awesome, though.
So scary. So scary and vicious, though. But just one of the greatest villains you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And you would think that this would be the sole bad character, like the bad apple in this kind of thing. And he's not. I mean, you have his droogs. You have Dim, Georgie, and Pete, which Dim and Georgie especially are pretty awful.
Yes.
They're pretty awful, and they're pretty stupid.
Yeah.
And you don't feel for them at all. But, you know, things happen with them that are entertaining.
Yes.
The fun thing with the movie, though, is so many people, like the authority figures, the cops, the politicians, even his parents, are ones who, by society standards, are looked at as good.
Right.
But are hypocritical in a way Alex isn't.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Alex does bullshit, and that way he is hypocritical. But in terms of the way...
He's playing a part.
Yes.
There's a difference there. He's playing a part.
The way he presents himself to the audience is very candid.
Yes.
Even if it's unreliable, he states his feelings very plainly.
Yes.
It had not been edifying, indeed not. Being in this hellhole and human zoo for 2 years now.
Whereas all of these people, they say one thing like, oh, we gotta handle violence, and then they cheer on when people they look at as scum or criminals get trampled on.
Right.
So, you know, one of the messages of the movie with all of these characters, like this over-the-top prison chief, who just shouts everything.
Yes.
Are you able to see the white line painted on the floor directly behind you? 655-321?
Yes, sir.
Then your toes belong on the other side of it!
Or the author that Alex massively abuses.
Yeah.
Try the wine.
Just wow. But all of these crazy characters in this world who are meant to be his opposite, but are just as bad.
Yeah.
In different ways, but
Oh
just
yeah,
as bad.
they're not. Well, they're not bad like he is. They're just not good people.
No.
Right.
One who is though is there's this prison priest.
Oh yeah, I like him. I like him a lot.
He's one who he's not in it that much,
Right.
but what he has to say is a great cornerstone for what this movie is getting at.
Yeah.
In that he talks about how he's an advocate for choice.
Yes.
Is that's what chooses between good and evil, and what makes a person is their ability to choose.
Right.
And doing what they do to Alex in the movie
Yeah.
strip that away.
Right.
So I love his presence
Yes.
in there. So what did you think of the world? This like, because it's sci-fi and it's in the near future, but it's
Yeah. It's very Earth as well. You know what I mean? There's it's more the look of it. Maybe that's sci-fi.
yeah, like
You know?
there's a lot of surreal colors in there.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a deranged Wes Anderson film
Yeah.
with some of the art direction, especially because there's a lot of sex portraits and paintings in the background, but are just
Yeah.
super hyper colorful and stylized that you're like, what?
Now I do wonder if we see some of those things because like the way we are because we're in Alex's mind.
Yes, because he's providing his perspective.
Right.
Yeah. Could this be his warped projection? Are we seeing
Yeah.
all of these depictions of sex because he's a hypersexualized teenager?
Right.
Or like we talked about with, you said the narrow hallways.
Right, the narrow hallways, and I'm just wondering what that means in the story, if anything. You know what I mean? But it's Alex's point of view, and all these areas are narrow. Even the areas that are spaces where they keep them are all always very narrow.
Mm-hmm.
And is that like about his, path in life or something?
Yeah, the most open shots that you ever get showcase how just grimy and run down this place
Yeah.
is. Or I like how you say earthy because it's very gritty.
Yeah.
It's very just dilapidated.
Yeah.
It would almost be post-apocalyptic if society itself hadn't crumbled, like if there still wasn't a government and stuff.
Right.
But it's on its way.
Yeah.
It's on its way with all of these street gangs and very colorful and coordinated
Yeah.
outfits.
Yeah.
And drugged milk.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I know, the Korova milk
so
bar.
I not want to drink drugged milk. Oh, just the thought of it makes me, anyway. I mean, it's fine in the movie, just...
But that just goes to show just how, like, surreal it is, like, putting
Yeah.
this world together.
Right. Where do you come up with that drugged milk?
I know.
Like, I don't know. It's great, though. I mean, I have no problem with it. It's just so
I know.
interesting.
It's just made me think about it, like, the repercussions of that. Like, man, is this what drove all of these kids into doing all of these violent acts?
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. But this world does make for a really good, as we talked about, psychological story.
Right.
Because Alex and his gang run wild for a while until it backfires and he gets caught.
Yeah. With their help, but yeah.
Yeah, they were tired of him. I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
you saw how many cock shots he took when he beat them, like, and those were slow motion ones. Those had to hurt.
Yeah.
But he undergoes the Ludovico technique, which is one of the scariest things for me in a movie, is just watching his eyes
Oh, yeah.
continuously pried open that
Yeah.
whole time, unable to look away.
Yeah. I don't like things near my eyes anyways, so that kind of... yeah.
But
they did a good job of being, like, creepy.
it's a very nightmarish version of aversion therapy.
Yeah.
Stop it, please, I beg you!
But it's very effective cinematically, and it does make for a great story,
Right.
especially in the third act, where we watch the repercussions of, what... It's almost like a Twilight Zone episode, where
Yeah.
he runs into every single person he ever wronged that we saw he wronged in the movie.
Right.
And we saw what happened when the tables were turned, and he couldn't defend himself.
Yeah.
Because it robs you of that.
Right.
As well as anything that they play, since that's one of the things with him is he loves Beethoven, and then he can't listen to the ninth
Yeah.
at all. In the book, it's worse. He can't listen to like any music almost.
Oh, wow, that sucks.
Yeah, that would suck.
I mean, but so does what he did, so,
Can't be helped. Here's the punishment element, perhaps.
But it makes for a really good story that, you know, challenges you to question, like, what would happen in this kind of scenario, and what is the nature of good and evil? Like, would it be better to just rob those people's ability to choose, or by dehumanizing them, does that make us evil?
Well, yeah. It definitely makes us evil. Like, that's those one people in philosophy that talk about, you know, it's on the action.
Oh, deontology?
Yeah, like, it's about the action in this case for sure, because you could easily just lock him up and put him through therapy and, you know, treat him like a human.
You really could.
And see if that does anything. You know, if not, okay. But yeah, doing that kind of stuff, what you're doing is you're treating him like, you know, lower. You wouldn't even do that to a dog. You wouldn't do that to anything.
And that's another place where I think a lot of the controversy comes from, is when people say, like, oh, it's making you root for Alex.
No. Because
they think the movie's trying to turn you towards him when they start torturing him and stuff like that. It's not really that. It's just watching the act of dehumanization in general. I'm not repulsed by it because Alex is being treated terribly. He kind of deserves what he gets.
Right.
He does.
Well, I mean, he deserves anything that happens to him naturally.
Yeah, like natural prison
punishment. But as humans, we shouldn't be doing that.
No.
You know what I mean? But I kind of think it's funny that he can't listen to the song. I mean, sorry.
I know, he got robbed of his favorite tunes.
You're torturing me. Well, dude, you did that to a lot of people. Calm yourself down.
Yep.
I mean, he can't, so, you know, it sucks for him. But yeah, I don't feel for Alex. I just see what lengths people, humans, whatever, will go to, you know, make their mark and make a change and get things the way they want it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what repulsed me about it is watching the prison chief and the really hypocritical but hilariously slimy politician.
Yeah.
Who is just cheering it on as this dude is just debilitated in front of them and degraded. Yeah, it's a movie that challenges you, but it's one that I've loved for that. Yeah. Like, every time I watch it, I'm just thinking about it for days.
Yeah.
And all the repercussions of this world and the choices in it, and all the Beethoven, because because we're gonna watch a lot of Kubrick movies on this bucket list. We're gonna watch like 3 more.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he uses a lot of classical music. So, yeah, there's a lot of Beethoven in this. There's some hilarious montages that are sped up with other bits of classical music. And yeah, it's weird because it is classical. It's of like a much further time, but it's somehow, because it's done in synth a lot of the time, it feels futuristic.
Yeah.
Just at least futuristic for that time. This movie's almost 50 years old.
Right, exactly.
But how did you feel about like the narration and the way the story was presented?
Oh, it was very good. I mean, it was good story, good storyline.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I enjoyed it, and how everything was done. Great editing. It was really good.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I was gonna like it, so.
I think it was very well put together. Like, I love the way it's edited, where it cuts between, you know, there are some slow motion sequences, there are some fast ones, there are ones with really exaggerated angles to like make some of the more gritty violence like look almost cartoonish.
Yeah.
And it's just put together in this really absorbing way that gets you in this character's head.
Yeah.
And I think that's really one of the scariest things in the movie, but it's also kind of its biggest strength, is how good of a job it does getting inside this particularly evil person's head.
Right.
And making you understand them.
Right.
Not root for them.
Right.
But understand them. And get a good story out of them.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you don't like to pick favorite parts.
No, I'm not good at picking favorite anything. I really am not.
I will say that Alex has a lot of great lines in the movie, especially in his narration. But one of my very favorite things is with his gang early on. They set up that they're getting tired of him, so they're starting to plan shit behind his back.
Yeah. And
he just acts all nice and kind of like, you know, gracious to them. And then they cut immediately to this great slow motion sequences where he's just simmering before giving the most operatic, over-the-top beatdown I've ever seen in a movie. Maybe. It's up there. But there are sequences like that that make it one of the most absorbing movies I've ever seen. So you liked it?
Yes, very much.
I'm glad you did.
Yes.
I'm glad you did. It's a very, very exciting, dark, but exciting entry on this bucket list.
Yes.
Next one's a little more historical,
Okay.
kind of.
Okay.
We're gonna go to Nam
Ah, okay. Fine.
with Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken in Deer Hunter.
All right.
Oh yes, Best Picture winner. So yeah, we're gonna tackle that one next.
All right.
But if you can't wait and you want to see more all positive reviews now, right this second, you can look down below and see a whole plethora of all positive reviews made just for you. We have Game of Thrones. We have our prior bucket list reviews like Amelie and City of God and 12 Angry Men. We have the Dark Knight trilogy, Marvel, Star Trek, and all kinds of other things coming up soon. As well as the things that they suggest, right,
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
We'll do just about anything.
Mhm.
And we have a nice big list that we're going to get to everything on. So please keep sending us suggestions. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Please stay positive and have a great day.